Okay. Hello, everybody. What's going on? What's happening? This your girl Tiffany coming through here live in effect. Live in effect. So tonight topic, I am going to be talking about the magnificent, powerful man who came up with the most syndicated television show of all time. We all grew up watching it. We all was dancing to. We had our favorite artists on there. We all, well, not everybody dreamed to be on it, but those of us who wanted to become upcoming musicians, we wanted to get on the show. We wanted to do the dance. We wanted to do everything. I'm talking about the Soul Train, and none other than Don Cornelius. But before I go there, I want to shout out to everybody that has been supporting my channel, watching my shows, subscribing to my channel, all that great stuff. And oh yes, they just had the Soul Train Awards. I gotta give it to Summer Walker and Ari Lennox. They did a great job. They really did, because when they came out there with that song, A Loyal, I kept listening to that song over and over again for the past week. Like, I could never get over that song. That song is magnificent. I think they did a great performance. I could tell Summer was very nervous. The girl got social anxiety. And anybody that has social anxiety, know it's not easy to stand in front of the crowd of people and start singing or anything like that or entertain the crowd. But I think the performances were great. You know what I mean? So they still got that going. But anyhow, let's go ahead and get into the topic for tonight, dealing with the Soul Train and Don Cornelius. Now, the reason why I'm doing this topic, because it goes back into the concept of public relation. And earlier, I did a video about Roy Woods, who was the man that loaned money to Don Cornelius to get his show started in the beginning. Okay, so how did Don Cornelius met this man? He got pulled. So the man got pulled over, right? Roy Woods got pulled over by Don Cornelius. At that time, he was a police officer. So he met the guy. The guy gave him the money. The guy hired him to work for his radio station in Chicago. And then he gave him some money to start his own show. Soul Train originally started in Chicago, all right? Then it moved to LA, okay? So it was the long-lasting show that ran from 1971 to 2005. That show ran for a long time, over 30 years, but the name's still relevant and people still remember. The Soul Train Award is still around to this day, okay? But yeah, this go back to public relation, because we gotta understand that as people, when it comes down to marketing, when it comes down to advertisement and media, whether it be mass communication, journalism, radio station, television shows, etc., we gotta be able to learn how to go about how to market to the public, especially people that's in our audience. So what type of audience are you looking for? So in this case with Don Cornelius and Roy Woods, it was African Americans. So they had to figure out how to go about marketing to the African American community. So Don Cornelius played that role in the public relation fields. Now, he may not have been a public relations specialist, but that's part of it. That's part of the dynamic. When you marketing, the whole thing is marketing. The whole thing is advertisement. The whole thing is getting people to relate to your organization, to your brand, to your company, and get their supports. The more support you have, the more that you build your brand up. And once you build your brand up, then you make more profit. That's how it goes. But you guys need to check out Century of Self by Edward Bernard. Century of Self is a good documentary that goes into details about advertisement, marketing, and propaganda, etc. It goes into all that great stuff. So public relation plays a big factor when it comes to media and advertising. All right, so with that being said, let me go ahead and get started. All right, so I'm going to go over some reading materials that I have about Don Cornelius. And I hope you guys can see my screen right here. Yes, cool. All right, so you can find this on Wikipedia. It's not that hard. And that's a picture of the late Don Cornelius, okay? So his name was Donald Cortez Cornelius. He was born September 27, 1936, and he died on February the 1st of 2012. Around the same time as Whitney Houston. But he was the American television show host and producer who was best known as the creator of the nationally syndicated dance and music show Soul Train, which he hosted from 1971 until 1993. Cornelius sold the show to Mad Vision Entertainment in 2008. Damn. Anyway, so he was born on Chicago South Side and raised in Bronzeville neighborhood. After graduating from DuSable High School in 1954, he joined the United States Marine Corps and served 18 months in Korea. He worked at various jobs following his stints in the military, including selling tires, automobiles, and insurance, and as an officer with the Chicago Police Department. Okay, so he quit his day job to take a 3-month broadcasting course in 1966, despite being married with 2 sons and only $400 in his bank account. In 1966, he landed a job as an announcer, news reporter, and disc jockey on Chicago radio station WVON. And WVON was the same station that Roy Woods was at. Okay. So he joined the television station, right, which was WCIU-TV in 1967, and hosted a news program called A Black's View of the News. In 1970, he launched Soul Train on WCIU-TV as a daily local show. The program entered national syndication and moved to Los Angeles the following year. Eddie Kendricks, Gladys Knight, and the Pip, Bobby Houghton, and Honey Comb were featured on the national debut episode. All right, so originally a journalist and inspired by the civil rights movement, Cornelius recognized that in the late 1960s, there were very few television venues in the United States for soul music. At the time, only one series, the public television show Soul, was focused on the genre. He introduced many African American musicians to a larger audience as a result of their appearance on Soul Train, a program that was both influential among African Americans and popular with a wider audience. As writer, producer, and host of Soul Train, Cornelius was instrumental in offering wider exposure to Black musicians such as James Brown, Aretha Franklin, Marvin Gaye, and Michael Jackson, as well as creating opportunity for talented dancers, setting a precedent for popular television dance program. Cornelius said, "We had a show that kids gravitate to," and Spike Lee described the program as an urban music time capsule. With the creation of Soul Train, Cornelius was at the helm of a program that showed African Americans in a new light, creating a Black is Beautiful campaign. Prior to Soul Train, African Americans were only occasionally performing on TV, mostly as guests on white center programs. Soul Train showcased African American culture and brought African American musicians and dancers to television. This show appealed to white audience, steadily grew, and eventually earned a huge following. Now, the purpose of that program was to give a larger platform to African American artists, because at that time period, during that time period, most of the music shows were ran by white people, and they only had Black artists as guests coming on. But Don Cornelius said, well, this can help further push their career and bring them to the highest level in the mainstream. So without Soul Train, a lot of these Black artists that we know and the artists that we grew up on, they would not have made it to the mainstream. He was the reason why so many artists from the 70s, 80s, and 90s and part of 2000 were able to get the mainstream recognition, were able to gain popularity. He was that reason why. He was behind all of that. He was the mastermind. And he came up with a brilliant idea, I must say. Now, let me go ahead and continue. All right. Now, right here in this picture, this group right here is called the Staple Singers. And some of y'all may be familiar with them, some of y'all may not. If you grew up in the 70s and 80s, you know about them. If you grew up in the 90s and you heard the music, your grandmama, your daddy, your mama kept the records. So yeah, this is the Staple Singer, and they're from Chicago as well. Okay. They did a song called Let's Do It Again and Respect Yourself, and I'll Take You There. That I'll Take You There was the most popular song back in the day. All right. So beside his smooth and deep voice, I mean, because he had a real deep voice, you know what I'm saying? He was a very powerful man. His voice was so deep. His voice was so deep, man. He really like gravitated the audience. His voice was real deep. I couldn't even do the Don Cornelius voice if you paid me to. But nah, for real. With his smooth and deep voice and his afro, which slowly shrunk over the years as hairstyles tastes changed, Cornelius was best known for the catchphrase that he used to close the show. And you can bet your last money it's all gonna be a stone gas honey. I'm Don Cornelius, as always, imparting. We wish you love, peace, and soul. After Cornelius' departure, it was shortened to, as always, we wish you love, peace, and soul. And it was used through the most recent new episode in 2006. Another introductory phrase which he often used was, we got another sound coming out of Philly. That's a sure enough dilly. Because see, a lot of the artists that was on the platform in the earliest days was those from Chicago and Philadelphia and New York. So he had a lot of Philly sounds coming in. Then over a period of time, everybody from various coasts started coming through. And it also says that he had a small number of film roles, such as record producer Mo Fuzz in 1988's Tapeheads. I don't even remember that movie. Cornelius last appeared on the episode of TV series Unsung, featuring Full Force, which was aired 2 days before his death. Okay, so he was arrested on October the 17th, 2008. Cornelius was arrested at his Los Angeles home on Mulholland Drive on a felony domestic violence charge. He was released on bail. Cornelius appeared in court on November the 14th, 2008, and was charged with spousal abuse and dissuading a witness from filing a police report. Damn. Cornelius appeared in court again on December 4th, 2008, and pleaded not guilty to spousal abuse and was banned from going anywhere near his estranged wife, Russian model Victoria Avala Cornelius, who had obtained 2 restraining orders against him. On March 19, 2009, he changed his plea to no contest and was placed on 36 months of probation. Boy, he was messing with them white girls. Let me shut up. So, sadly, in the early morning hours of February the 1st, 2012, police officer responded to a report of a shooting and found Cornelius on the floor of his home at Mulholland Drive with a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head. He was taken to Cedars Sinai Medical Center, where he was pronounced dead by the Los Angeles County Assistant Chief Coroner. According to the former Soul Train host Shamar Moore, Cornelius may have been suffering from the earliest onset of dementia or Alzheimer's disease, and his health had been in decline. An autopsy found that Cornelius had been suffering from seizure during the last 15 years of his life, a complication of a 21-hour brain operation he underwent in 1982 to correct a congenital deformity in his cerebral arteries. He admitted that he was never quite the same after the surgery, and it was a factor in his decision to retire from hosting Soul Train in 1993. According to his son, Cornelius was in extreme pain by the end and said shortly before his death, "I don't know how much longer I can take this." Wow. Okay, so here's the reference at the very bottom. But you know what? There seems like it's a little twist to this story as far as his death is concerned, because I want to pull up a little article real fast before I give y'all some reading materials. So this comes from kissrichmond.com, right? 99.3, 105.7 Kiss. Okay. All right. I know y'all want to see Gary. Come on, Gary, get your ass off the wheel. Don Cornelius hated second ex-wife to collect on life insurance policy while stars pay tribute. Don Cornelius, the creator of Soul Train television show, left behind 2 life insurance policies worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, which will reportedly go to his ex-wife, whom he divorced after a bitter legal battle 3 years ago, sources say. Cornelius, 75, was found dead at his mansion in Sherman Oaks, California, in the early hours of Wednesday morning with a gunshot wound to the head, which was reportedly self-inflicted. It has been revealed his ex-wife, Victoria Chapman Cornelius, whom he hated. Wait a minute, he hated this woman. According to reports, will receive around $300,000 in insurance payout. Now, she received over $300,000 in insurance payout. So that means that, first of all, Don Cornelius didn't really have no money before he passed. And the only money that he had left over was his life insurance. So this woman took $300,000. Now that sounds like something very fishy. It sounds like something very fishy to me. Something fishy was going on. Either she triggered him to that point, or there was a motive that she had. And it sounded like to me she triggered that man to the point where he committed suicide. And she was waiting for her come up. That it just sounded real fishy to me. But I can't prove exactly if she was the one that did it. But just listening to the fact that after he died, all of a sudden she gets the life insurance policy. Well, let's see what else I will find in this article. Don Cornelius and his second wife, Russian model, had their divorce finalized in 2009 amid allegation of domestic abuse on both sides. He told a Los Angeles judge that he was suffering from significant health issues at the time. He was believed to have suffered a stroke and had brain surgery in recent years, which left him in a great deal of pain. Then it goes on to say, in 2008, Victoria Chapman Cornelius filed 2 restraining orders against her former husband, while Cornelius claimed she pepper sprayed him many times, according to reports. And of course, he was arrested at his Mulholland Drive home on suspicion of domestic violence. He appeared in court on November 14, 2008, and he was charged with spousal abuse, and he pleaded not guilty. He was placed 36 months probation, and they was divorced less than a year later. Oh, it says under California law, if a policyholder commits suicide within 2 years of the time the policy is issued, the company can deny payment. But in this case, Dunn had the policy for more than 2 years. So Victoria, the woman many say he despised, will get the money. Not his family, not his children, not his grandchildren, but his ex-wife. His death had prompted many to speak of the positive influence he and his show Soul Train had on pop culture, music, and the African American community. All right, so there's a lot of people that pay their respects to him, etc. All right, so he had 2 sons with his first wife named Dolores. Okay, but I just wanted to show that piece of article right there. It just, because it makes me question, well, what was the motive behind all of this? Because he was already going through some serious health issues. His health was declining. He was almost suffering from dementia, which once you suffer from dementia, you pretty much like dead, but you alive, but mentally you're dead because your mind is not in the present state. Your mind is so far back, or it means that you basically just don't have no clue of what's going on around you. And your brain is deteriorating itself. So this woman saw it as an opportunity to take advantage of this man and to get the hold of that money before anybody else will. If you're a wealthy black man, you better be careful messing with these white girls out here, because, baby, they know how to get to them pockets. Believe that. They gonna marry a black man when he's wealthy as hell. When he got all that money, and they know that you're getting all that money, they're gonna find a way to get to your pockets. I mean, it's not just white women themselves, but it's with any woman. Any woman can do that. But particularly white women are good at doing this. That's their trick. All right. But anyways, let's go ahead and look at the read materials that I have available. So right here, if you guys want to read more about Soul Train and its history, check out this book called The Hippest Trip in America, Soul Train and the Evolution of Culture and Style by Nelson George. So this book came out around 2004. Okay. If you guys don't know who Nelson George is, he was like a public analyst, if you will, if that's the term to use. He's still around, but he does a lot of work on artists, producers in the music industry, particularly even those who are in the movie industry. So he's like the public critic type. He's been on many shows. He's been on Unsung for the most part, and he gave so many interviews on there talking about different artists, people that he had worked with, people who he had interact with, and all that great stuff. So, and again, you could put him down as part of somebody in public relation as well, because by him being, just because he's an author, but he's also a critic, and by his work dealing with famous people, particularly African Americans, he knows how to reach out to the audience and know what type of audience to gravitate to, and how to go about marketing his books and different products, etc. Yeah. But you guys need to check this book out if y'all want to learn more about Soul Train, The Hippiest Trip in America. The Soul Train. I can do it much louder, but I'm just gonna I don't want to disturb the piece. But yeah, the Soul Train. Soul Train, Soul Train. Dun, 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 dun. Soul Train, Soul Train. Dun, 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 dun. Soul Train, Soul Train. Love, peace, and soul. All right. But anyways, that's all I have for tonight. That's all I have for tonight. Thank you guys for tuning in to watching this video about Mr. Don Cornelius and Soul Train. And again, we have to understand that public relation is very important, and we have to be able to learn how to control those narratives in our community. And Don Cornelius, once again, have done a brilliant job. He came up with a brilliant idea because he knew how to advertise and bring about the narrative, how to gravitate the people and get people involved, how to actually promote artists on the mainstream. He done that. It was him. He was that mastermind. And again, if it wasn't for him, a lot of you black artists out there from back in the day wouldn't even be standing where you at today. That man made it possible. That man built that foundation. And because of that foundation, it led to other networks like TV One, Urban One, also BET. BET came into existence because what's his name? I think his name is Bob Johnson. Yeah, Bob Johnson. He brought BET into existence. So Don Cornelius created that gateway for other networks to come in. TV One Network, BET. And the reason why BET came about, because MTV at that time, they was racist as hell. VH1 and MTV didn't really want to put black folks on there. Michael Jackson happened to be one of the first African Americans to be on MTV in 1982. Actually. But BET said, okay, since y'all don't want to bring black people on there, play black videos, we just gonna start our own. So Bob Johnson did his thing and started his own and created the BET network. But now BET ain't what it used to be no more. When Viacom took over, it was a done deal. It was a done deal. Viacom took over and changed the whole dynamic of it. It's like watered down. It's not what it used to be. It's not what it used to be. See, you can tell the difference. See, that's what I'm saying. When you have somebody controlling the narratives, you can tell the difference. See, when Bob Johnson was behind the scene, we knew what it was. We felt that. You know, so we felt that because we knew that, okay, this is us. But then when Viacom took over, it was watered down. It was watered down. It was like patched up. Like you still see some of the vibe there and you can feel some of it, but it's not what it used to be. But yeah, Don Cornelius gave that opportunity for more black television shows to come into existence, music videos and television hosts, radio syndication, all of that. We gotta give credit to what credit is due. But I will check in with you guys later. Make sure you guys subscribe to my channel, hit the notification bell, share my channel, all that great stuff. Again, thanks to everybody that has been subscribing. Thanks to those who have been watching my contents on here. Whether it's positive reviews, negative reviews, or whatever, I still appreciate you guys. This is a motivation for me to keep going and doing what I gotta do, and hopefully present more information to the people. Yeah. But all I do is provide read materials. That's all I'm doing. And you guys can go look these things up for yourselves. It's right in front of you. Okay, look them up. Your history is right before your eyes. All you gotta do is just type it in, search it, boom. Go to your public library, boom. Go to Amazon, boom. Go to Barnes and Noble, boom. You'll find it. But you got to take the initiative. You must want to do it. You, the individual that's watching, you got to do it. You got to do your work. All right. But let me get off of here. Let me stop all the talking and I will connect with you guys later. And y'all take it easy. All right. Be safe. All right. So this your girl, Tiffany. Deuces. All right.